Welcome to Hobby Clubhouse with a review of the Bandai SD Gundam World Heroes Nobunaga Gundam Epyon. This kit is one of 3 kits released as the first wave of the new SD Gundam World Heroes line, along with the Wukong Impulse Gundam and the Sergeant Verde Buster Gundam. And you know what? As I was making this video, Bandai has announced expansions to the other 2 kits. The Wukong gets a twin set with 2 extra silhouette forms, and the Sergeant gets a cool exoskeleton and a flight unit. And guess what Nobunaga gets? A recolor. Come on Bandai, seriously, you can't wait more than 2 weeks from this kit's release before announcing a recolor. It'd be nice to get a little something extra in the box at least. But at the same time, maybe it's not so strange because they've already announced that Nobunaga will get his own horse as a separate release, so maybe they kinda jumped the gun and ran out of exciting things to announce for him. But anyway, that shouldn't take away from this kit right here, so let's have a look at it. The Nobunaga Gundam Epyon was released on April 9th, 2021 for a price of 770 yen, so it is a bit more expensive than the Wukong and the Sergeant. The box art is a CG render by SK Yoshinobu, who does a lot of artwork for Pokemon cards and video games. The box comes in at 15 by 20.5 by 9 centimeters, so it's also a little bit thicker than the other 2 boxes. The side of the box gives us studio shots of the Epyon and all its gimmicks. And the other side has just a plug for the show telling you to go online and watch it. Inside the box, we get the Epyon spread across 7 runners, which is actually not more than Wukong or Sergeant. It's probably the cape or the hood parts that take up a lot more space that calls for the bigger box. And we also get a sheet of foil stickers, with one here for the eyes, a round one here for the sensor on his chest, then one sticker here for the sensor on the back of his head. These long ones here give us the fancy details on his shoulders. This small crest goes onto his forehead. And this much larger one goes onto the back, along with these 2 white ones that go on each side. And while we're back here, this gold diamond goes onto the hood. These go onto the side of his face. Then these big ones wrap around each side of his chest. These long blue stickers go onto the shoulders, both front and back on each side. And then these gold stickers also go onto each of the shoulders, front and back. Then we have these purple ones here that color the panels here on the armor on the side. For the instructions, we get some background information on the Epyon on the front. And then we get the same studio shots here on the back side as we did on the box. Inside, we get a 2-page spread comic, as all BB Senshi family kits do. And then on the back side here, it's all for the assembly instructions. And about 40 minutes later, we get the Nobunaga Gundam Epyon here without any of his stickers. And he looks like a patchwork of different colors in this form. I mean, let's be real, when you saw the design, you knew there was no way the kit was ever gonna look anything like that with all the crazy highlights, but I think the kit tries its best, and I like the color separation on the front skirts here, for example, and the side armor also looks really nice. But I don't think anyone's shocked by the kit looking a little incomplete without the stickers, so I'm not gonna hold it against it too much. So here's the kit with all its stickers, and it feels much more like what we expect from the box. Just like Wukong, the gold stickers don't look anything like the muddy yellow parts that are meant to be gold, so they don't work too well together. The Epyon here also has 2 of the worst wraparound stickers of all 3 of the SD Gundam World Heroes kits. I'm talking about the ones here on the side of the chest. They cover the entire purple section and all of the details, and there's absolutely no hope that the sticker is gonna stretch and fit all of these details, so you're left with this flat skin that gives you the right colors, but it basically decimates all the details of the kit underneath. It's not as bad for the decorated flaps on the shoulders, since I don't know any other way that they could have sensibly done this, and the crest on the head too is excusable, but who at Bandai thought the chest stickers wouldn't disappoint a lot of fans? Come on Bandai! But let's look at what we do get, and something that's quite unique to this kit, which is the outfit. The Epyon has this giant collar, which we're gonna recognize from popular depictions of Nobunaga, the historical figure. It is a static thing, sure, but it does set this kit apart from others with how it looks. On the waist, we get another one of the collars that flares up from the waistline, and this is also another common trait that we see with many ancient Japanese war dressing. Of course, we have to talk about the cape on the back, which is divided into 2 sections here that are individually articulated. There is another section here that extends onto the right shoulder, but this part here doesn't really move like the others. This cape helps the Epyon becomes much more expressive, because otherwise this kit really is restricted in poses by its armor. The front skirt is really long, and the side of the shoulders are going to block the arms from moving a whole lot. The sides of the feet don't help with these big wings coming up from each side, so it's good that at least the outfit does remind us of Nobunaga, and it does serve its purpose because we paid a dear price in articulation for that. Now let's look at the weapon, starting with the sword, which comes in a sheath which we can remove it from, which the sheath is a single molded piece, but it gives us a bunch of ugly gaps all around, and these are a pain in the butt to fill in. The sword itself is all in one color, as these things are. You'll definitely wish it were more colorful, but what we do get is a decent sculpt that's all in white. Otherwise, there's not much that's notable about it. It's a good sword. Next, we get the Epyon's heat rod that's made out of 3 articulated segments attaching onto this piece at the base. It's all done in clear red, and it's meant to be an extension of energy of some kind. The left hand has a peg which you can attach the heat rod onto, just as it was on the actual Gundam Epyon, and it's a fine addition. But alternatively, you can fit the whole heat rod onto the blade of the sword and fix its bland whiteness with this flame sword special attack, which I won't try to say the name here. You can remove the front 2 segments, and that remaining part is shaped so that it still works in this shorter form as well. Just don't look at this weapon from the other side, it doesn't work that way. Now we get one more item in the box here with this piece here with the 2 horns. Now you can't just stick it on, and you have to pull off the entire blade and antenna part. Then you can slide the horn piece in place, and then fit the entire assembly back onto the head. It's a neat enough addition to have it better suggest Epyon's power, and it adds a little something inside the box besides just having a sword and the whip. Because really, you can't do a whole lot with the Epyon. He looks cool standing here, but he has trouble posing, so that means he can't really fight too well with the other kits if you're playing with them. And that sense of being so limited by the kit is really strong when you hold this kit in your hands. You're not ever going to think that it looks bad or anything, but you will find yourself wishing that he was more fun. And against the Wukong, who is a ton of fun to play with, the Epyon may very well be left on a shelf or inside his box. But onto the articulation, starting from the top, the head doesn't go up at all because of the collar, and it does go down a tiny little bit, and it turns from side to side just a little. The shoulders can swing forward. The entire arm swings up until the shoulders catch the collar, or when the other shoulder hits the collar. It swings the other way until it hits the cape. The shoulder can be adjusted on its ball joint. The entire arm can be adjusted on its ball joint as well. Surprisingly, Epyon does have an elbow joint that bends about 90 degrees, and none of the other SD World Heroes kit have this. The hands are a ball joint, but they're very limited by the sleeves. The waist can dip forward a little bit, and it goes backwards a little bit as well. It swings side to side a little bit. The legs kick forward a little bit. And back, guess what? A little bit. They swing outwards this much. And the knees can bend about 90 degrees, but you will have to take the leg out to have access to it. The feet can be adjusted on their ball joints. I may have spoiled this already, but the Epyon is very limited in its articulation because there's just too much stuff getting in the way. With the way he's dressed, it doesn't look like he's meant to flip all over the place and be agile anyway, but that doesn't change the fact that, as a toy, there's really not much to play with from the articulation, and SD Gundam World Heroes kits are meant to be played with. And for size comparisons, here's the SD Cross Silhouette RX-78. And then, here's the Legends BB Zakuto. So Nobunaga certainly is really tall because of his hair, but he isn't especially that much bigger than the other kits. He's certainly quite bulky because of his armor, and I think you'll have no trouble displaying him with the other kits and he won't look out of place. With all that said, here's a Happy Clubhouse 3-point verdict on the Nobunaga Gundam Epyon. Number 1, he's a handsome villain. We need bad guys in the toy line, and here we have one. but maybe it's not the one we really want. Epyon looks sleek and intimidating as a boss, but he doesn't look like he's dressed to fight. He's dressed to do boss stuff. And it's a bit hard to imagine how a young fan would play with just him going against something as agile as Wukong. The idea that Epyon is powerful isn't enough to make him exciting to play with. And number 2, it's an exciting project for builders. Because at the same time, I think Epyon is the most exciting to paint as the builder. The design of the kit is beautiful, and out of the box, much of the intended details are absent. It'll demand a lot of skills to have it looking its best, so it'll be something you'll be quite proud of, and it'll impress anyone who sees it. And number 3, the stickers don't look good. I said this in Wukong's review, but it's hard to forgive the stickers so easily when they cover up so much of the nicely sculpted details. It's a brute force and inelegant way to have the kits look closer to the illustration, but it's done at any cost here. I'm sure even for really young fans, the stickers really just make them wish the details weren't stickers, and the details never really felt like they're legitimately there with the stickers. I don't know if there's anything Bandai can really do within the budget constraints that they work with, but as an objective customer, a disappointment is a disappointment. So that's the review for the Nobunaga Gundam Epyon. He looks good, he looks like Nobunaga, but he's mostly for looking at and not as good for everything else. Thank you so much for watching. Come look us up on social media with updates on upcoming videos and sneak peeks at future projects, links are in the description below. Or hang on here some more and watch the reviews of the other SD Gundam World kits. But before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos from Hobby Clubhouse, and I'll see you next time.